Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let me begin with a question that might catch you off guard. Have you ever stopped to think why, in nearly every corner of the United States, whether in Silicon Valley, on Wall Street, or even in a small town hospital, you'll find Indian immigrants not only surviving but excelling? Why is it that this community, though a tiny fraction of America's population, has produced some of the wealthiest, most influential, and most successful individuals in the country? Why do we so often hear about Indian CEOs, Indian doctors, Indian engineers, Indian entrepreneurs, and even Indian politicians shaping the destiny of the most powerful nation in the world? It almost seems like a puzzle, doesn't it? How did people who came from a faraway land, many of them with very limited means, manage to rise and become the highest-earning immigrant group in America? How did they establish billion-dollar companies, dominate the tech industry, and become leaders in medicine, academia, and business? And the most intriguing question of all is this: what does this say about the Indian mindset, the Indian family culture, and the hidden formula that transforms their struggles into astonishing success stories? Tonight, we are going to uncover that. We are going to peel back the layers of history, education, cultural values, and ambition to understand why Indian immigrants become so prosperous in the United States. By the time this speech ends, you might even find lessons that apply directly to your own journey, no matter where you come from. Let's start with a striking fact. According to the US Census Bureau and Pew Research Center, Indian Americans are the wealthiest ethnic group in America, with a median household income nearly double the national average. While the average American household makes around $70,000 per year, Indian households bring in well above $120,000 annually. On top of that, Indians rank among the most highly educated groups, with nearly 75% holding a bachelor's degree or higher, compared to the US average of about 30%. These numbers are not just statistics. They reflect a remarkable trend. But figures alone don't explain everything. We need to ask why this happens. A large part of the explanation begins back in India itself. For many decades, India has been a nation of striking contrasts, with immense poverty on one side and extraordinary brilliance on the other. The education system, particularly in STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, has produced some of the brightest minds in the world. From the Indian Institutes of Technology to top medical and research institutions, India has built an academic environment that prizes competition, rigor, and resilience. Imagine a country where millions of students sit for entrance exams, but only the top 1% make it through. Those who survive this intense process are already trained to endure pressure, pursue excellence, and adapt to challenges. When such students land in America, often on scholarships, work visas, or through family sponsorships, they already possess the discipline and perseverance to thrive. Think of them as marathon runners who have been training under extreme conditions. The moment they arrive in a country with greater resources and opportunities, they sprint ahead. But education alone doesn't tell the whole story. The real engine of Indian immigrant success in America is family culture. In many parts of the world, success is viewed as an individual pursuit. But in Indian families, success is collective. Parents make enormous sacrifices to invest in their children's education, sometimes giving up their own comfort and luxuries. It is common for Indian parents to take on multiple jobs, live frugally, and channel every dollar toward their children's futures. Careers in medicine, technology, engineering, finance, and law are strongly encouraged because they provide security and high income. Even after moving to America, this mindset remains deeply ingrained. Parents avoid wasteful spending and teach their children to focus on academic achievement and professional careers. And once those children succeed, they do so not just for themselves, but for the entire family. That sense of duty, of carrying forward the honor and sacrifices of one's parents, is a powerful motivator. It pushes Indian immigrants to keep striving until they achieve financial stability and eventually long-term wealth. But there's another crucial factor, what many call the immigrant mentality. Think about what it takes to leave your homeland. Moving to a foreign nation means leaving behind familiar food, culture, friends, and sometimes even close family members. It means starting from zero in a place where you may not know the laws, the customs, or even the language well. For most people, this would feel overwhelming. But for immigrants, particularly Indians, this challenge becomes fuel. They know that if they've taken the risk of moving across the world, failure is simply not an option. They carry with them not just their personal dreams, but the hopes of their families back home. That responsibility makes them work harder, avoid financial recklessness, and prioritize stability over instant gratification. You'll notice that many Indian immigrants save consistently, invest prudently, and steer clear of unnecessary debt. While some groups may chase luxury purchases early on, Indians often choose to build assets. They buy homes, fund education, and start businesses rather than splurge on short-term pleasures. Over time, these habits lead to steady wealth accumulation. Another key piece of the puzzle is the career sectors Indian immigrants often enter. Many go into high-paying and relatively stable industries such as healthcare and technology. For example, Indian doctors, nurses, and pharmacists are spread across hospitals and clinics in America, providing services that are always in demand. Then there's the technology sector. From Sundar Pichai at Google to Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Indians have climbed to the very top of the industry. This is not mere coincidence. It's the result of a cultural mindset that merges technical knowledge with discipline and persistence. But the story doesn't end with existing industries. Indian immigrants are also builders of new ones. The entrepreneurial spirit runs deep in the community. From running small businesses like convenience stores, motels, and gas stations to founding billion-dollar companies, Indians continue to create wealth through ownership. Think about companies like Sun Microsystems, co-founded by Vinod Khosla, or Bose Corporation, founded by Amar Bose. These aren't just success stories of individuals. They represent contributions that generated jobs, innovations, and entire industries. At this point, you may be wondering, if Indian immigrants are so successful, does that mean every Indian immigrant in America is wealthy? The truth is no. Many face discrimination, cultural isolation, or financial struggles. Many work long hours in low-paying jobs simply to make ends meet. But what sets this community apart is the trajectory. Even families that start small, working in modest jobs, often think in terms of long-term progress. They save, they invest in their children's education, and they keep their eyes on the next generation. Within just one generation, many Indian families move from working class to middle class, and often to upper class. This rapid upward mobility is one of the most remarkable features of the Indian immigrant story. So far, we've touched on the foundations: rigorous education, strong family values, immigrant determination, strategic career choices, and supportive community networks. But the true magic happens when all these factors merge. Picture a young Indian student raised in a disciplined household, trained in a highly competitive education system, motivated by the sacrifices of their parents, and then arriving in America where opportunities are abundant. That individual is practically destined for success, not through luck, but because every element of their upbringing prepared them to seize the moment. And let's be clear, America itself plays a major role in this story. The United States is indeed a land of opportunity, but opportunity only benefits those who are ready to make use of it. Indians often arrive with a toolkit, discipline, ambition, resilience, that enables them to maximize everything America offers. Where others may take freedom and resources for granted, Indians often see them as precious gifts not to be squandered. This combination of preparation and opportunity explains why Indian immigrants are not just surviving, but thriving. It is the story of a community that transformed hardship into strength, sacrifice into prosperity, and dreams into reality. It is not only a lesson about Indians in America, but also about what becomes possible when education, family, determination, and vision work together toward a common goal. As we go deeper into this speech, I want you to keep asking yourself, what lessons can we take from this story? Is it only about Indians, or is it about a wider formula for success that anyone can adopt? Because the truth is, the qualities that make Indian immigrants wealthy in America are not exclusive to one group. They are universal traits that can be practiced by anyone willing to embrace discipline, sacrifice, and long-term vision. But before reaching that point, let's go even deeper. Let us look at the role of history, the role of government policies, and the role of global change in shaping the destiny of Indian immigrants in America. Because this is not just a story of individuals, it is also a geopolitical story, a story about how two nations, India and the United States, became connected through waves of migration, education, and innovation. And this is where the suspense grows, because when you look closely, you realize the rise of Indians in America is not just about money or jobs, it is also about influence. It is about shaping the future of technology, medicine, entrepreneurship, and even politics. In other words, this is not only the story of why Indians become rich in America, it is also the story of how people who were once under colonial rule have now become leaders in the most powerful nation on earth. And with that, let us continue this journey where we uncover the deeper reasons, the hidden struggles, and the long-term meaning of Indian success and influence in the US. But the question remains, does this explanation capture everything? Or is there still something deeper, something less visible beneath the surface, that explains why Indian immigrants not only survive in America, but often rise to the top? To truly understand, we must look at history. The success of Indians in America didn't start recently. Its roots go back decades. In the 1960s, when the US passed the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, it opened doors for highly trained professionals from countries like India. Unlike some earlier immigrant groups who came mainly as laborers, many Indians who arrived in that era were doctors, engineers, and professors. They were people with advanced education and expertise. America had a demand for these skills, and India had a surplus of talented people seeking opportunities abroad. It was not an accident. It was history aligning interests. This first wave set the tone. These Indians came not as unskilled workers, but as professionals who already had stability, respect, and good income waiting for them. Their children grew up in privileged circumstances that other immigrants